And where we go from here, former Washington, D.C. police detective and defense attorney Ted Williams. Good evening, Ted. Tell me something I don't know.
Well, Judge, let me tell you something that you do know. I heard you in the last session with Steve Rogers talking about the insanity defense.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure we are clear here. This guy, as far as I'm concerned, was not insane whatsoever. When you think about it, he not only says at some stage on his social media site, I'm going in.
I'm going in,
when
yeah.
you look at premeditation, deliberation, all of the things, the prerequisites that are necessary for first degree, they're there. Not only do he go in, he shoots up the place, and guess what? He's sane enough to try to get out of there and run away from the police.
Go
and guess
get
what?
him, Ted.
At
That's
that
right.
stage, he runs back in. And this so-called insane man then goes up to the third floor, and this insane man shoots it out with the police. This man was not insane, and if I was the lawyer prosecuting this case, I would love to have it.
And if you're defending this case, Ted?
If I was defending this case, I would try to talk to people who knew him and to talk about maybe what his motivation was to try to mitigate and everything. But I got to also tell you something else. This guy was not a fan of the president.
That's right.
If you notice, at times there's a segment of society that want to blame everything that happens in America on the president. Well, you can't do that, because if you go to this guy's social media site, you will read in there where he says this: Trump is a globalist, not a nationalist. There is no Make America Great Again. This is coming from Robert Bauer's site, Judge.
Well, you're right, Ted. You're right about that. Everybody assumes he's a right-winger because he ended up killing in a synagogue. There's no question. This guy didn't vote for Donald Trump. He didn't like Donald Trump. And he's not insane. He's focused. He's clear. He's intent on what he's doing, and he's plain evil. And you know what? I agree with the president. There's only one appropriate sentence in a case like this.
Wait a minute, Judge. Don't say it. Let me say it.
You say it.
The death penalty.
You got it.
They need to nail his butt and put him into the electric chair, just as he took 11 lives. Judge, just think about it. You walk into a church, a house of worship, and you take 11 lives. These were very vulnerable, decent people who are not going home to their families tonight.
You know what, Ted? You talk about this is a hate crime. We both know it's a hate crime.
Absolutely.
Hate crimes don't just affect the individual who's been victimized. They have a ripple effect in the community. It is not only the individual who's being taken out in a box to a morgue and then in a box. It's a whole community who suffers from a fear that because they're a part of that community, that they're going to be the next victim. The ripple effect is huge.
The ripple effect goes way out. And as a matter of fact, it goes throughout the country, Judge. As a matter of fact, in New York, where you are, the law enforcement officers there are putting additional protection on synagogues.
As they should.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, and let's talk about it, Ted. I mean, you know, there were so many people who were against additional punishments for hate crimes, but every state in the union now, as I understand it, has hate crime penalties that are more serious because they recognize the seriousness and how expansive these crimes are, how they go beyond the individual victim. But what pains me is that there are still people who focus on hate. This guy hates Jews. A couple of days ago, I believe in Kentucky, one guy goes in and he shoots a couple of African Americans, and when a white guy takes out a gun to shoot him, he says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to shoot you. You're white." I mean, this kind of hate is horrible, and I don't understand, other than they're ignorant, they're arrogant, and they don't deserve to breathe the same air that you and I breathe.
And you just said it. They don't deserve to breathe the same air. And this is one reason why I'm taking my hat off to the Justice Department tonight, that they are looking to prosecute this guy Bowers under the hate crime statute, because under that statute, Judge, on the federal level, it carries the death penalty.
That's right.
So therefore, this guy could very well be looking at being put to death.
Yes, yes. All right. Ted Williams, thanks so much for being with us tonight and for all you've done today.